are talking about childhood trauma. Oh, the fun. So, we're going to do this in a way that my hope is it's going to be as destigmatizing as possible and also less traumatic as possible. Okay. Now, when you hear the word childhood trauma, what comes to mind? Abuse, neglect, violence. What if I told you that some of the deepest childhood wounds came from experiences we were told were normal? Most people think, you know what, I wasn't even abused, so I don't know if this applies to me, or let me listen because I might be an advocate, or, let me just see who I may be able to help with this. And it may surprise you that I'm actually talking about you and some of the experiences that you've had. Moving every few years, losing friends over and over, maybe a parent was deployed. How about growing up in a home where emotions weren't discussed? Something bad happens, you don't even talk about it, and you just move on as if it never happened. That actually happened to the woman who created Juneteenth, by the way. Home was destroyed, and she just says her family never even talked about it. Sometimes trauma isn't exactly what happened to you, it's about what happened around you, and it is what you end up carrying alone. I'm Dr. Virginia. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist, a lifestyle medicine physician, and I get to blend the sacred with the scientific and put it together. And today we're talking about childhood experiences because they shape our brain, our relationships, our health, and they definitely shape the way that we show up as adults. So if we don't go back and take care of that little child, then it is 100% going to impact you the way that you are right now. Now, trauma is about impact, not intent. So even if I didn't intend to hurt a child, the impact that they receive, that's 100% what we're talking about. Most loving parents raise their children and they might have experienced a trauma, but they might be overcompensating to make sure that their children don't experience that. And trauma is not always bad parenting. Again, a military person who has to move because of orders and chooses to have his family go with them, that's not bad parenting. That is a part of the experience that can overwhelm a child's ability to cope. Frequent moves because of a family illness or a move to go and help a family member. I've seen where families have gone to move in with someone to be able to give them support. How about divorce? What happens when the children are here part-time and they're part-time? Is that traumatic? Could it potentially be traumatic? Bullying, things that you may or may not even know about as a parent, but as a child, you're experiencing it. And yes, cyberbullying can be just as difficult because yes, you can turn all of the social media off, but if the bullying happened at the person's school, they still get to show up to school, right? A medical illness. I just watched a phenomenal episode of Watson season 2, somewhere around episode 13, where the young man literally was born with so many, he had surgery within hours of birth, and he continued to have surgeries all through his life. And that was incredibly difficult. I have found some of the most well-adapted, wise young people who've experienced medical illness from very young age. That doesn't mean it's not traumatic. Surgery is an intentional trauma on the body. We're going into the body to repair something, but we are going into the body, and that can be quite difficult. Community violence. Even community violence that you don't necessarily see, but you feel. We all talk about crime that happens in communities, outdoors, or even domestic violence that we hear about. But what about those communities where we don't hear about it? It's behind closed doors, and you just see it in very subtle ways, right? Passive aggressive ways. Emotional neglect, a huge one, a big one. We are expecting kids younger and younger to do more and more. We're expecting our 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds to do more. The Bible says that we go weaker but wiser. Wiser, yeah, we're smarter. We know more. We've got more technology, but there is a weakness in there. There's an inherent weakness in there. Sometimes I think we're neglecting kids because they can do more. And children do adapt brilliantly. They're survivors. The brains are meant to adapt, and these adaptations, when you're very young, become barriers when you're older, because the hypervigilance that you designed or you're not designed, but you defaulted to as a child becomes anxiety as an adult, right? And then that emotional shutdown And um, that fight, flight, or freeze when you're younger becomes emotional difficulties and relationship difficulties later. And the need to perform and become a perfectionist can later on become burnout and the inability to fail. Okay. Trauma lives in the body. And we do know that this is where lifestyle medicine shines. And we don't get to talk about lifestyle medicine a whole lot, but lifestyle medicine, again, that's when we're taking regular, natural things that we've had since creation to be able to help us heal and reverse illness. So it's how we change our nutrition, what we put in our mouths, our physical activity and our physical activity level, reconciling with stress and finding ways to deal with stress, our relationships and connectedness, being very intentional about being connected. All of that is lifestyle medicine. It impacts your sleep, your hormones, your blood pressure, all of the things, because your body is an organism and it needs certain things in order to survive. Otherwise, it will stagnate and die. And we need to think about the fact that healing is not pretending it didn't happen. Healing is understanding what happened, recognizing how it shaped you, and deciding what you want to carry forward and leaving behind the things that don't serve you anymore. If it's people, places, or things, you've heard that from a conversation in the addiction community, if you're familiar with that, but certain people you'll have to let go or wear them very, very loosely. I have some scars in my closet that are packed and they sit in the back of my closet, and I might only bring them out once or twice a year. I will wear them. I will be connected to them for a very short period of time, and then I pack them up and I put them back on the shelf. I am sorry, but that, and actually, I'm not sorry. That is just how you have to handle some people who have been in your past that have added to your trauma or been directly responsible for your trauma. Now, others are the clothes, the scrubs, the comfortable materials, the things that understand you, they get you and you get it. That's what's going to need to be taken with you and carried forward. Now, some of us inherited wounds that we did not choose. You've dealt with generational trauma, you've dealt with colonization trauma, but you can choose how the wounds are going to be taken care of and how you transform that into your legacy. So if today's conversation felt personal, you're 100% not alone. And there are a lot of successful adults that still carry these burdens from childhood. Healing is possible. And our mission is very simple here at The Life. It is to lead others one step at a time towards good mental health. That's it. Very simple. We help you go from surviving to thriving and deal with some of the experiences that you've had so far. So I'm always sending people to the phone because that's what I remember, and it's the easiest thing. It's 507 LED Life, 507 LED LIFE. And that's one of our old numbers. So you'll actually get a phone call from probably a 240 or 202 because that's where we're based now. However, it's always a good, great start. It is a good, great start to utilize that. Of course, if you want to go online, you can use, and you're ready, like you're really, really ready. You're ready to go through all the information tutorials we have and set yourself up with working out with us. We use Spravato for depression. We use TMS for PTSD and other forms of trauma, and obviously good old fashioned therapy if you're ready and able for it and able to participate with it. But if you are, reach out to us at 507 LED Life. I'll give you a second backup if you're the text type. It's bit.ly/insurance validator, capital I, insurance validator. But you can send a link into that message, go there, and it'll walk you through how to get an appointment with our staff. So those are just two ways. If you don't want to deal with humans, go the second one. If you want to talk to a person, go with the first one. Okay? Choice is up to you. The ball's in your court. And I hope that you have a very blessed day on purpose. Okay?